Hello, I'm a fan of Ghosts and Scott the Woz, Scott the Woz yet again. Season 1 of Scott the Woz was a lot more of a first draft than a consistent series. There were more reviews and boring ramblings in the first half before Scott got the idea to make it a bit more like a comedy game review hybrid TV show thing. Season 2 is better in every way with the exclusion of Scott not making a horribly aged video about retro gaming. Now I'll ramble incoherently about some guy because it goes against YouTube guidelines for me to neuter some kid's pet frog. Video 1 Player's Choice. As a poor best with someone close who has OCD, I understand why people freak the hell out over small things. Scott rambles about ugly game boxes / reprints of games. Pretty much the only one I think looks absolutely revolting are the PlayStation 1 Greatest Hits re-releases. Couldn't they pick a darker green? I've released digestive fluids darker than this. The actual video is pretty funny though. I love watching people with undiagnosed OCD get unnerved. Their tears sustain me. Video 2 History of Nintendo Switch NX Rumors and Leaks. Scott rambles about the leaks of the Nintendo Switch before it was released. He's really scraping the bottom of the barrel for this. It's pretty neat looking at the info of that slab, which at the time was so new. It also brings back the Critique That Leak segment, which I 100% thought was only going to be in Season 1. Pretty funny watching Scott make fun of teenagers' Photoshop skills again, going above the previous video. Oh no, y'all, Goat Fan here, and step right up to the birth offer where we've used illegal gambling and pregnant women. Video 3 Launch Title. Scott talks about video games released at the launch of a system and ranks them as a group. He mentions some details like how most NES games aren't good in comparison to the stuff we got now. Except Mario 3, I fuck with Mario 3. Going above Player's Choice. Video 4, The Guy Game. This was a pornographic game released 20 years ago that is technically illegal to own because one of the girls late in the game was allegedly 17. I don't know for sure, so please don't buy it. The video's funny, going at the top of the list. No more words needed than poop, fart, and penis. Video 5 Most Wanted HD Remake. Scott talks about some old games he wants to return. We did get the best version of Mario Sunshine Burnout Paradise, but he got a bunch of other stuff wrong. Condolences, Super Smash Bros. Melee players. Going above History of Nintendo Switch NX Rumors and Leaks. Video 6 E3 1997. Scott talks about a press conference where Sega was trying to get people to buy a Sega Saturn. They tried hard. It's impressive. Most of the video focuses on Sega and PlayStation because those are the ones who were very present there. Neat info, going above History of Nintendo Switch NX Rumors and Leaks. Video 7 Nintendo Switch 1 year in. A disclaimer for the future, this will be the only video in this series I will cover. Why? They all follow a format, which is the game releases for every month of every year of the Nintendo Switch. I will just repeat myself like 7 times or how many of these videos there are. It would be pointless for me to cover all of them, plus they're on average like an hour to 2 hours long each. I love myself, so I'm not doing that. This one covers some different launch titles, almost launch titles, and One Piece Unlimited World Red Deluxe Edition going at the bottom of the list. Video 8 Death of a Franchise. Blinks is dead. Scott talks about dead video game franchises. In all honesty, Nintendo could just walk into their specified development building and make F-Zero GX2. It's been so long, no one would care if the gameplay doesn't change. If the problem is lack of ambition, it's already fixed. It's been so long. Free success. I don't know why I'm so passionate about F-Zero on the night of February 20th. I'm like a fucked up werewolf. Going above History of Nintendo Switch NX Rumors and Leaks. Video 9 Super Smash Bros. N64 Smash Hit. This is the game where you try to cripple your brother. Pretty funny and very informative, going above Death of a Franchise. Video 10 The WiiWare Chronicles 1. Scott talks about some digital-only games on a suited-up GameCube. He talks about games that expose his interest as a teenager because I am deeply concerned about why he downloaded Sexy Poker on the Wii Shop channel. Once the dog loses Punch-Out! Going above E3 1997. Video 11 The Bible Game. This video is very wholesome as Scott learns trivia about Christianity. It reminds me greatly of my favorite Bible quote, Ezekiel chapter 23 verse 20. There she lusted after her lovers whose genitals were like those of donkeys and whose emission was like that of horses. This also has a mediocre song which Scott sings, going above Death of a Franchise. Video 12, 2D to 3D. Video games are like Poland. They improve and improve until some new bull comes around. Video games are complicated. Extremely complicated when they went to 3D. Very entertaining, going above the WiiWare Chronicles Part 1. Video 13, Nintendo before video games. Nintendo did several things before video games because it was typically unusual for some random fella in Japan to play Mortal Kombat 11 in 1921. Nintendo did toys, playing cards, a taxi service, and did love hotels in order to make a larger audience for the toys. Note, Nintendo does not endorse the appropriation of humanity in order to boost the sales of the toys in the 1960s. Their playing cards look pretty nice though, going above E3 1997. Video 14, Get Rich Quick. Scott tries to make money. This talks about those apps that give you points for stuff in order to get gift cards. This is a skit, not a review. It's funny watching Scott get scammed every which way and scare some poor bastard on Tinder. Going above E3 1997. Video 15, The Games That Time Forgot. There was a Sega Genesis Garfield game that made the system worth a damn. The Garfield game had a weird radio version for this weird Genesis add-on. It had new levels that weren't in the normal release. We don't have the extra Garfield levels. No! No! This talks about games that are nearly impossible to own, like Garfield's Lost Levels. Also, Kirby Pinball, going above 2D to 3D. Video 16, New Super Mario Bros. Series, What's New is Old. I'm glad they are branching off from the sub-series. These are bare bones, budget, and just competent platformers. They made way too many too quickly. They all blended together. After the first game, they never bothered to experiment other than, this one has a golden fireflower, or this one has a skinned mammal. As you can tell, I prefer Sonic, going above Get Rich Quick. Video 17, The WiiWare Chronicles Part 2. Scott talks about video games on the Wiener yet again, like Mega Man 9. Or what the fuck? It's pretty neat seeing all these abandoned games you can't get anymore. Going above the WiiWare Chronicles Part 1. Video 18, Nintendo Labo Adventures with the Variety Kit. Nintendo Labo is another video game fad where Nintendo made us buy cardboard for stupid expensive prices. I could never play with them. They are too fragile for my lanky, shaky skeleton hands. The video itself is actually pretty good. Scott makes a piano and fingers A minor, going above New Super Mario Bros. Series What's New again. Video 19, Game Compilations Compilation. Pac-Man Collection Game Boy Advance. This talks about random old game compilations to have old games. When I have a copy of Sonic Mega Collection Plus on PS2, of course I want to play Comic Zone. You're the fucking chronic hedgehog! Going above the games that time forgot. Video 20, Super Mario Galaxy 2 Derivative Bliss. An Italian plumber gets sent into space again and beats up that evil lizard dude again, before inviting him to a game of basketball. Mario Galaxy 2 was designed to be a simple expansion to the first Italian space expedition. The second one is more linear, fast, and hard. Mario Galaxy is like a box of chocolates. It's a thing. Going above the WiiWare Chronicles Part 2. Video 21, Game Foods. Have you ever wanted to drink the fluids of a robot boy? Officer, I didn't mean that like that. I just wanted to talk about Mega Man energy drinks at church. Scott got his arteries clogged. Going above New Super Mario Bros. What's New is Old. Video 22, Tech Demos. How can we know if your Wii does stuff? We demo it. Tech demos show what your new thing can do. What is your Wii capable of? Scott talks about tech demos. This is the Final Fantasy VII remake, which took a while, going above 2D to 3D. Video 23, E3 2018. This time on Scott rambles about press conferences. EA did next to nothing, Microsoft showed off a Fox someday with the shirt on, and Bethesda showed off the soon to initially fail Fallout 76, the new Google update looks fun though. One last thing, if you want proof I'm a Fallout fan, bam! It's mostly commentary mixed with the occasional joke. Going above Nintendo Labo, Adventures with the Variety Kit. Video 24, When Gimmicks Go Too Far. Have you ever wanted your 3-pronged plastic banana to buzz? Video games have had some weird gimmicks. I don't like playing versions of games on the Wii because I like my hands not hurting. Scott additionally complains about the Xbox Kinect because... What the fuck? I mean, like, going above either 2018. Video 25, Super Smash Bros. Melee, the best one, apparently. In Smash Bros. Melee, you can do several things, like make Captain Falcon get arrested for beating up a psychic kid and then an electric rat. Scott talks about how he prefers the other games in the series compared to Melee. It makes sense, Melee is way more fast and competitive than something like Brawl or Smash 4. Going above tech demos. Video 26, let's make a game console. Scott talks about what a new game console would need for the big three. How is the Xbox Infinite a better name than what we got? Now the Xbox needs more exclusives and continue its backwards compatibility support. It did one of those things. In my opinion, the PS5 is doing okay, but Spider-Man 2 and God of War Ragnarok should stay exclusives because I'm not gonna play them either way. Going above tech demos. Video 27, the Milko franchise. People don't want more Assassin's Creed, it's worn out. Some video games have countless entries, whether it be sports games, the endless Mario games, or the 48-something Tetris games. Pretty entertaining watching Scott have a mental breakdown over Street Fighter 2. I wish he cried more. Going above the WiiWare Chronicles Part 2. Video 28, rated E for irrelevant. Tetris Worlds on the PS2 is an example of a pornographic video game. There are sexual scenes galore involving that damn line. God, that's hot. Pretty funny watching Scott talk about Sega being flamed by the government in the 90s. Going above, let's make a game console. Video 29, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the worst one apparently. This game's main problem is the lack of competitive gameplay, Meta Knight, random tripping, and the worst offender, Ganondorf being the worst it's ever been. How is Ganon terrible in every Smash Bros. Game? He is too easy to curb stomp. Scott compliments the game introducing more people to Smashing Your Bros, going above game compilations compilation. Video 30, a look back at Nintendo Direct rumors. So what happens when you give some teenager too much time, Google Docs, and Photoshop? They lie online. So while yes, I'm legal, I have come to announce Pikmin 2 now with optional William Howard Taft mode. This optional game mode allows you to run for 27th President of the United States of America after collecting a certain number of treasures. Going above, let's make a game console. Video 31, Devil's Third. Nintendo's adopted abomination. Scott plays a crappy Wii U game that Nintendo saved from being cancelled. Devil's Third is basic, has a paper-thin plot, and has a terrorist be the protagonist of a Nintendo exclusive. Obviously, Nintendo likes to avoid involvement with a game where you kill terrorists as an ex-terrorist. Also, according to our Lord and Savior Scott the Woz, the game sucked ass, going above the Milko franchise. Video 32, E3 1998. Yippee! More press conferences! I love pressing my palm against conference halls. Sega was failing at getting people to buy a Sega Saturn yet again. Nintendo was flaunting a green-clad child. And Sony was still on the roll of getting exclusive out for their console. Pretty neat seeing Sega do a terrible job at selling the sickest planet. Going above, a look back on Nintendo Direct rumors. Video 33, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Return of a Laughing Stock. Scott got some backlash for disliking Sonic 1, so obviously, he went back and played Sonic 2. Sonic 2 is faster, has more shitty levels, and has Wing Fortress Zone. I agree with Scott saying Sonic 1 was more of a first draft. Some important background details for the Genesis Sonic games is that Sonic 1 was made by the Japanese team, while Sonic 2 was made by the American team. Sonic CD was also made by the Japanese team, which is why the levels are more open and gimmick heavy. Sonic 2 is just better, except for Metropolis Zone. That level is comparable to Great Value Lima Beans. Going above, Super Smash Bros. Melee, the best one apparently. Video 34, Development Hell. Duke Nukem Forever is an example of a game that refused to come out. Unthankfully, GTA 6 hasn't beat for development time. Fuck the workforce! Nippy! It's a bit more review than comedy overall. Going above, a look back on Nintendo Direct rumors. Video 35, Viral Games. Scott talks about viral games from the early 2010s to around 2016. It's pretty funny watching Scott try his hardest to not get laid. Here's a step-by-step guide on how you don't get laid. 1. Make a song about a guy lamenting his own death after eating 10 million bananas and dying of radiation poisoning. And then you have step number 2. Eliminate every lady who throws herself at you as a result. You can't fuck if there's no one to fuck. Going above, a look back on Nintendo Direct rumors. Video 36, Game Controllers. Scott makes fun of video game controllers. There's only so much you can really say about a piece of plastic with buttons to make a red-clad man jump. But Scott makes it work. Somehow. The most fun yet ugly and weird controller I've used is the original Xbox controller. Really fun for my skeleton hands. Going above E3 1998. Video 37, the best-selling games of all time. Want to sell something to a little child in the 1980s? Give them a loaded firearm and tell them to shoot ducks. Then go home and play Duck Hunt. Video games can sell good for 5 reasons. Brand recognition, bundles, lying in the trailers, hot women, and then quality. Scott also plays Pose Me, going above game controllers. Video 38, Mega Man NES, Growing Pains. Mega Man 1 has many problems, such as the constipated grown man on the US box art, not as many stages as the other games, and it generally being more unfair than the others. Scott looks with the game setup rather than actually playing Mega Man 1. If I had to choose between playing Sonic 1 Marble Zone and anything else, going above the best-selling games of all time. Video 39, The WiiWare Chronicles Part 3. This video continues the paper than plot of the previous 2 videos, where Scott hides after the Wii Shop channel is closed. He plays and talks about WiiWare games, and that's it basically, not a lot to them. The Space Invaders spin-off looks fun though, going above viral games. Video 40, Nintendo DS, Touch the First Sight. Why the fuck would you name a video that, Scott? The only thing I touch is my The Nintendo DS was a victim in 2004 and had such wonderful games, like Namco Museum, Ghostbusters, and best of them all, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. Yes, that is a real port. While I would say the 3DS is better in almost every conceivable way, the DS did have a GBA game slot in the first 2 models. Why would they remove it? Going above Game Compilations Compilation. Video 41, Wii Music, 10 Years of Terror. As the guy who does music for the fun and creative opportunities, Wii Music is ass. It doesn't control well, you can't piss yourself at 2 AM while writing a song 4 years ago, but the instrument variety is pretty good. It's pretty funny seeing the shit song selection and lack of actual modern music. Most of it is public domain stuff, but there's always so much Bach I can listen to before switching to the Sonic Generations OST. Going above Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the worst one apparently. Video 42, Night Trap. This game was partially responsible for getting the ESRB made. How? It's a shitty B-movie where you miss the plot by jumping through cameras and shoving vampires into holes. My dad was a child of the 90s, and if I told him this game was partially responsible for the ESRB, he'd probably say, yeah. Going above Game Compilations Compilation. Videos 43, Cheat Codes. This is a great one. Scott talks about how he has a Mac and thus is going to be publicly executed on June 16th, 2026. I do agree that a simple easy mode is better for rookie players, but flying cars in GTA San Andreas is way more fun. There's also a cheat code in real life. Your neighbor annoying? It shuts them up. You don't have enough money? People will give money. Your dog too happy? First of all, what the hell is wrong with you? Buy a gun! Going at the top of the list above the guy game. Video 44, Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS/Wii U. For here or to go. This one is okay. I have Smash Bros. On the 3DS, and I had a ton of fun with it. I don't plan on revisiting it because Smash Bros. Ultimate exists. The video is a bit too long for something that's not too complicated. Most people don't really care about the GameCube controller add-on, and a lot of this is nitpick stuff. The main differences between the 2 versions of Smash Bros. 4 are that the 3DS version has more handheld stages and a cool mode inspired by Kirby Air Ride, and the Wii U version has a worse stage selection. That's it. Going above New Super Mario Bros. Series, what's new is old. Video 45, Game Stores. Finally, perfection. Scott goes to apply at GameStop and the employee there teaches him valuable lessons, like shoving a membership down your throat. The only reason I go to Walmart for my video games is because Canada doesn't have the best variety of greedy capitalism opportunities. GameStop is good if you want to buy a game and nothing else. Pretty funny seeing Scott goof off with his friend. I have seen this video multiple times and it is genuinely flawless for a Scott the Woz video. It has everything: a paper-thin plot, good jokes, interesting reviews, and Scott hating on countless 2017 releases. Going at the top of the list. Video 46, as seen on TV. Scott gives money out to random ads on TV, so you know what that means. He's broke and has a sponge. Then he gets inside their TV in order to show off to his friends and be the last customer at Toys R Us. Breast pump adapters thinking to buy themselves. Going above Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Return of the Laughingstock. Video 47, console redesigns. The NES had a redesign in the 80s where they made it more functional and ruined the picture quality with out-of-date video ports. Sometimes consoles need a cheap redesign, like the Nintendo Switch 2, because holy shit, I am not paying $450 just because the Switch has a packing game now. It doesn't, that's from an earlier misconception of me. Mario Kart World is cool, but I ain't paying $90 for it. I'm replaying Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed before I pay $90 for anything other than Fent. Going above game compilations, compilation. Video 48, The Weaver Chronicles 4. Scott and his pet zebra he named Fallout 76 plays with his wiener yet again. In the plot, Scott is remembering himself playing with his wiener in the past. His console got stolen in the apocalypse because people love WiiWare games, and some guys did. He plays with meerkats, penguins, darts, and more with his wiener. Pretty good, has the best balance of review and comedy out of the four, going above a look back on Nintendo Direct rumors. Video 49, Collector's Editions. Remember, every December 25th, 3 more prostitutes materialize. Scott talks about some cool Collector's Editions, such as a $220 edition of an Assassin's Creed game. No. Collector's Editions are called that to increase sales. That's it. Some are great quality like the Batman Arkham City Collector's Edition, while others offer junk for a game no one cares about after 2 months. I do not know what I would do with 20 mini statues that every big Collector's Edition had in 2015 to 2019. Going above Mega Man NES, Growing Pains. Video 50, It's an Awesome Baby. This is the first real story-based skit by Scott. Imagine a less ambitious, shorter, more homey feeling, borderline forever at his biggest video, aka Scott the Woz the movie. It also has short cameos from other YouTubers such as Cat Icarus, Ant Dude, and the guy who steals from charities. The plot follows Scott playing a mediocre Sega Genesis basketball game, which this other guy is obsessed with. So the other guy fucks up time, and Scott is stuck in a universe where it's the only sports game. The original soundtrack is pretty great. Overall, the best video plot and story-wise. No actual problems, even more balanced than Borderline Forever, honestly, because Borderline Forever kinda did a terrible job at balancing the review and story bits of the video. Going at the top of the list. And now it's time for the final ranking of Scott the Woz Season 2. Nintendo Switch 1 year in. Player's Choice. Launch titles. Most Wanted HD remakes. History of Nintendo Switch NX rumors and leaks. Death of a franchise. The Bible Game. Super Smash Bros. N64 Smash Hit. E3 1997. Get Rich Quick. New Super Mario Bros. Series. What's New is Old. Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS and Wii U. For here or to go. Game Foods. Nintendo Labo Adventures with the Variety Kit. E3 2018. When Gimmicks Go Too Far. Nintendo Before Video Games. The WiiWare Chronicles Part 1. The WiiWare Chronicles Part 2. The Mocha Franchise. Devil's Third. Nintendo's Adopted Abomination. Super Mario Galaxy 2 Derivative Bliss. 2D to 3D. Tech Demos. Let's Make a Console. A look back on Nintendo Direct rumors. The WiiWare Chronicles Part 4. Viral Games. The WiiWare Chronicles Part 3. Development Hell. E3 1998. Game Controllers. The best-selling games of all time. Mega Man NES Growing Pains. Collector's Editions. Rated E for Irrelevant. Super Smash Bros. Melee, the best one apparently. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Return of the Laughingstock. As seen on TV, the games that time forgot. Game compilations compilation. Console redesigns. Night Trap. Nintendo DS touched at first sight. Super Smash Bros. Brawl, the worst one apparently. Wii Music, 10 Years of Terror. The Guy Game. Cheat codes. Game stores. And finally, It's Awesome Baby. Season 2 of Scott the Woz was a massive improvement over the OK Season 1. Scott the Woz Season 2 has more light plot elements and higher production value than Season 1 because it isn't just Scott in his bedroom talking about the Nintendo Switch every moment. I get that he was excited, but Switch leaks are only so exciting. Scott has more cameos from his friends, and they add a good mix of energy and deadpan performances. The final episode was way better than Season 1 because it has more music, a better message, funnier jokes, and a plot that's naturally taken with a grain of seriousness. Still not better than Borderline Forever though. I recommend starting with Season 2 if you want quality from start to finish. If you want me to cover Season 3 of Scott the Woz, let me know. I'll more than gladly Scott my Woz all over you guys again.